Today, we're talking about the truth about uncontested divorce in Illinois. And I'm going to give you the top 4 misconceptions that people have and that leads them to have expectations about the divorce process that really steer them in the wrong direction and cause problems down the road. So if you clear these up and you understand what uncontested divorce truly is, you should be able to increase your chances of getting an uncontested divorce, which is number one way of making your divorce go faster, making your divorce be less expensive, and maintaining a healthy relationship with your spouse, which can help, obviously, in co-parenting as you move forward. My name is Bobby Buchanan. I'm an Illinois divorce lawyer, and this is Illinois Divorce TV. Let's dive in. The first misconception about uncontested divorce is, what is uncontested? It does not mean, uncontested doesn't mean that simply you and your spouse agree to get divorced. That is, so let's say that you've talked to them and you both say, enough is enough, let's get divorced. I want a divorce. And the other person says, well, I want a divorce too. And then you go, great, we have an uncontested divorce. This should go as smooth, this should be smooth sailing. Well, that's actually the least important part of an uncontested divorce. In Illinois, it's a no-fault state, which means that really the other side doesn't have to agree whether or not a divorce is going to happen. Either side can get a divorce without even pointing the finger at the other side and saying you did something wrong. So really no reason is needed for getting a divorce. You don't need an agreement of the other side to get a divorce. And just because they agree to get a divorce doesn't mean that they've simplified anything. What needs to be agreed upon in an uncontested divorce? Well, the short answer is everything. Unless you and your spouse, and this is misconception number 2, there must be an agreement on everything for you to have an uncontested divorce. So let's say that you agree on how to split the equity in the house. You're going to sell the house and you're going to split it 50-50. Great. That's one area that you agree on. Have you talked about what's going to happen with the kids? Oh, well, we generally know that we're going to share custody of the kids. Well, that's good. You agree on that. But what does that mean in real practical terms? How many overnights are you going to have? How many overnights is the other side going to have? And as an extension to that, who's going to pay child support? That's directly going to result from the overnight. So if one side has X number of overnights, 185 overnights, and the other side has 180 overnights, then that's going to be a certain amount of child support. And if one side has 300 overnights and the other side has 65 overnights, that's going to be a much different child support number. So you can't just say, oh, we're going to agree on custody. You got to know exactly what is the schedule, what are the number of overnights that you are going to agree on, and then what is the child support that flows from that, and you must agree on that amount as well. You must also agree on whether or not you're going to be paying any alimony. Legally, that's called maintenance in Illinois. You're going to have to agree on how you're splitting your retirement accounts. If you have any investment properties, what you're going to do with those investment properties, what exactly is going to happen with them. Are you going to divide ownership of them? If you have any investment accounts, how you're going to split those. When I say you need to agree on everything, I mean every single little thing. And what's going to happen if you come to an attorney and say, oh, we have an uncontested divorce, it should be really simple. Well, a good attorney is probably going to show you a number of areas where it doesn't seem that there's an understanding yet about what you're going to agree to. And they'll help you navigate through that and understand, okay, we need an agreement on this. We need this to be more specific. You need to go back to your spouse and talk about this. The next misconception about uncontested divorce is that it's going to be your way or the highway. Uncontested divorce needs compromise. You must be willing to compromise in order to get an uncontested divorce. I have never done an uncontested divorce where there wasn't a certain level of compromise. Now, that compromise may come about before you even talk to an attorney, and maybe it may come internally. You may have just already said to yourself, you know what? I'm going to compromise with what I think I really deserve, and I'm going to offer my spouse this instead. Or the compromise might be more active. You might have a conversation with your spouse. You might have multiple conversations where you guys actually have a negotiation. But there has to be compromise in order for you to have an uncontested divorce. If you call my office and you say, I have an uncontested divorce, this is what I want, X, Y, and Z. The question is going to be, okay, well, does your spouse agree to that? Well, I'm not sure. Well, then you don't have an uncontested divorce yet, and you need to confirm with them whether or not your divorce is truly uncontested. Your next misconception is that, well, let me back up. I'm just sneaking a peek at my notes here because I realized I missed something. Let's go back to, you need to agree on everything and why that is and how that. Here's what it comes down to. You cannot, in an uncontested divorce, the judge is not there to help you. The judge is not going to offer input. The people sometimes think that the judge's role is to weigh in on little issues or to resolve little issues or to rule on little issues. The moment that you get the judge or require the judge's input on an issue, your divorce is not uncontested whatsoever, and there is never a simple way to present issues to a judge to have them weigh in on those issues. That always spikes the amount of resources needed in a case, because even if you do something called a pre-trial, which is an informal conference with a judge, that is an incredibly important strategic moment in a case that the attorneys have to be very prepared for if they want to put you in the best position possible. So there is no let's just get the judge to weigh in on this one little issue if you have an uncontested divorce. If you have that one little issue, that is going to extend your divorce for months, and it's going to require a whole nother level of analysis and work by your attorneys to get the judge to weigh in on that issue. Misconception number 4, there must be absolute transparency and open communication in your to keep a divorce uncontested. And what I mean by transparency is financial transparency more than anything. The number one place that divorces go off the rails and go from being potentially uncontested to being contested and much more expensive is because one side asks the other side for some benign, necessary financial documentation, and the other side is hesitant to turn it over for whatever reason. That is such a huge red flag and instantly will cause problems in your divorce and make them contested. And what an attorney has to do at that point is issue discovery. And once you issue discovery, you have opened up a very resource-intensive, time-consuming, expensive process of forcing the other side to turn over financial documents. So if you want your divorce to stay uncontested, you have to be very comfortable with open communication and just divulging the information that is necessary in order to broker a deal. So there you have it. The 4 truths about divorce and the common misconceptions that cause people to go into the divorce process and not have a clear understanding of how to keep things uncontested. If you get those 4 things straight, you increase your chances of having uncontested divorce massively, keeping the cost down, accelerating the timeline that you can finish your divorce, and getting on to the next chapter of your life. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave us a comment, question. Let us know what you want to hear about next. Talk to you soon.